So I keep seeing on Facebook, on the relevant forums, that people buy bikes and then they say, should I change this, should I change that? I'll give you a quick overview of mine and what I've changed and why. Now, my original plan was I was going to buy an S-Works, and I looked at the parts on the S-Works, and there's some things I liked, a lot of things I liked, and some things I didn't. So even after spending 10 grand, I reckoned I'd probably still change quite a few bits on it to get it to be comfortable for me and how I wanted it. So what I did was I went the other way and I bought a comp, and pretty much changed all the bits, kept the frame, motor and battery, and changed pretty much everything else. Here are the bits that have pretty much been changed. So from the top, wheels, rover wheels with the Specialized tyres, the gear set, it's all there, guide brakes, bars and grips, rear shock, dropper and crank arms, stem, and also the seat clamp. It hasn't sort of happened overnight. I've changed bits as I've gone along, and I was going to stay with the Rockshox shock and forks. I had quite a bit of work done. I had the forks taken out to 160, revalved, set up for me. I had the mech air can put on the rear shock, and in fairness it worked really well, but it was just niggling me that there was going to be something better. We pretty much ended up with almost a spare bike there. So here's the bike after the upgrades have been done, and I'll just talk you through what I've done and possibly some of the reasons why it might help shape your decisions if you're thinking of doing any. So from the top then, first thing I did was put a shorter stem on, and I've got some Hope bits, so that sort of shaped the plan and the colour of everything was going to go. So I've gone for a 30mm stem to bring the cockpit a little bit shorter and make the steering a little quicker. Bars and grips, I've used Burgtec for quite a while. I like the rise and I like the sweep on them, so no point changing them, they just stay with me on each of my bikes. Ergon Grips, the same, quite comfortable, quite soft. Then brakes, if you've used SRAM brakes, you know that they get spongy, they go off. Hope aren't the strongest brake, but I do like them. Apart from the sort of bling factor, they're made in the UK, which I like, and also all of the parts are interchangeable. So if you break one little bit, as I did last week on this front brake lever, all the bits you can get and replace easily. Rotors, I've gone 203 and 200 on the back. Again, I had them off a previous bike, so there's no point changing them. So that's the cockpit. I also put a SWAT tool in. The bike comes with a little tool on the bottle cage, but I like the SWAT tool, it's just easy. Okay, so front end then, just put the new 2021 Fox 36s on. I had thought about 38s, but I've never had any problems with them flexing, never really noticed it. So I couldn't see any reason why change them and go for 38s. I think it's probably overkill for the type of riding I do anyway. Wheels, we all know that Rovals are a bit of a bag of shit really. The rims quite soft. I've flat spotted some before. I've heard that on some of them you get quite sharp edges on the inside which cuts into the tyres. So I went for something that was reliable, the DT Swiss H1700 hybrids. They're quite robust, quite burly, and certainly gonna, well, the last 4 or 5 months they've stayed dead true, no problems at all. And I've used it Michelin E-Wilds on the last couple of bikes, and I quite like them. I tried the 29er Michelin Enduros on this when I first built it, and I went for 2.4, but I've honestly felt them being a little bit washy, so I've gone back to 2.6 E-Wilds. I had a puncture last week that didn't seal, so I had to buy new tyres anyway, so I went for them at the same time. So 2.6, they work quite well. I haven't tried them on the trail yet, but as you can see, if you're concerned about 2.6s, it is a bit tight in there, but they fit okay. So they're staying on. So staying on the suspension, The other new addition this week has been the EXT Racing Shox Coil. I demoed a few different rear shocks on the bike, and this just beat them hands down. If you've not heard of EXT, they're huge in rallying and car racing, and they're just getting into to mountain bikes with Mojo bringing them in or distributing them. So then they know their stuff. So they wouldn't be involved in anything that was rubbish. And honestly, the shock is awesome. So bottom bracket wise, Burgtec steel chainring, gone for a 34 tooth, and hope cranks. Hope cranks aren't just for cosmetic; they're 155mm to stop some of the pedal strikes, and obviously being billet alley, they're quite solid and they're not going to twist like some of the Praxis ones. Gears wise, I've gone for 12-speed Shimano XT. Not a big fan of SRAM, so gone for what I know. Other things here, the Psycho MTB rear mudguard with the two-piece overlap. It's the only one that really keeps the crap out of the rear swinging arm and the back of the motor effectively. So I've gone with that. And then coming up here, I've gone for the Rockshox Axs Reverb. Again, more for practicality than anything else. I didn't like the way that the dropper cable routed down through the frame. Had to do this tight turn to get up here, so it does a loop by the motor to route it back up, which is a bit rubbish. I think to maintain it or do anything with it, you probably got to drop the motor. I'm not sure, but I didn't really like that, so I've gone for the remote one. Bit excessive, I know, but I like it. And seat, I've gone for a fabric seat. I usually use an SQ Lab seat, which is the most comfortable thing, but it started creaking, so I've gone back to fabric, which are pretty tried and trusted and reliable. Other things to just mention, the new Fox forks. They released a mudguard which is quite neat. Doesn't need cable ties. It fastens into the back of the fork stay and also the back of the bleed points. So I quite like that. It's quite neat. And then you've seen that I've done a graphics change. Jason at Evoke Concepts made these ones for me with our company logo and a few other brand logos. Changed the standard logos to orange. They just sit over the top of the standard Specialized ones. They're made of thick stuff, so they actually act as quite a good protection at the same time. I think that's about it. So if you're considering doing any upgrades, you probably need to justify it to yourself, your missus, whatever. But I figured if I've got the base model bike and I've got all of these upgrades, then when I change bikes, when the next one comes out, most of these parts are going to stay with me, and we just go back and replace for the new buyer all of this new stuff that's pretty much never been used, and hopefully it'll keep the value of the bike up. The frame's been protected quite well, so there's no reason why it's not going to be in good condition when I move it on in another year or so, and buy the new bike and switch all of my parts onto that. Hope that's been helpful, and helps make your decisions on whether you upgrade or what you upgrade with. But do your research, try different parts on your bike. A lot of shops will let you demo things and see what works for you. Okay, cheers.